Hi, that was a blinding bit of sun. It's just come up over the horizon, and I was very glad when we turned a little bit to get away from it straight in my face. There's a hoarfrost this morning. It's very cold, and this is the UK's sunny county, supposedly the most hours of sunlight in the UK, which is Norfolk.
And the bird we've come to see and hopefully photograph is the grey or common partridge, the UK's native partridge. Norfolk has a very good population of them because Norfolk is a heavily game-kept county. There's more gamekeepers here than any other county, I would think, and the land is kept suitable for game birds like partridge. From a photographer's point of view, Norfolk has the advantage of relatively few hedges and fences. You can often pull up where you've got a clear view of the field and be able to photograph things. There's not that many gates in the gaps between the hedges. So I can drive around all day and pull up in little gaps like this. I can see some game cover over there and some feeders and just sit and wait for a short while.
The other creature I'm very likely to come across while looking for grey partridge is the brown hare. It's very much the same habitat, and so I've got 5 brown hares in front of me at the moment. They've done a little bit of boxing or interacting with each other, not been very dramatic. That's something I would really like to film, but in the Midlands very rarely see hares interact with each other, perhaps because we haven't got very many of them. But here in Norfolk, they are incredibly numerous.
A little later on, I did get some interaction. They were running away from me, if anything. It used to be thought that it was males fighting each other, but today it's believed it's males chasing females.
So wherever there's a gap as you're driving along, you just pull over. There's a hare just running across in front of me now. But you see a gap like this and you just pull up and watch for a little while.
I really wish I'd have filmed this in slow motion. I think it would have looked fantastic, but you don't have time to change your settings. It's coming towards you, you're struggling to keep it in the frame and keep it in focus. Watch for the pheasant. And the winner is... I'm used to seeing a lot of roe deer and muntjac in Norfolk, but today I see more and more Chinese water deer. It's another introduced species. I've seen them in Norfolk and Bedfordshire. I'm not sure how far they have spread across the UK. I've seen wonderful pictures of these running through the water at Strumpshaw Fen in Norfolk, taken by Tony Howes. They're super pictures.
What often surprises me about Norfolk is how quiet the roads are when you come inland a little bit. Now if you stay on the coastal road going around the Norfolk coast, which goes from basically one nature reserve to another nature reserve, the traffic can be terrible, it can be gridlocked almost, a lot of tourism. But you come inland, very little traffic, a lot of very quiet country roads, and then you get these dirt tracks. Now I'm on a dirt track at the moment. I actually don't know whether I'm allowed to be here or not, but I've been here for 30 odd years. I've driven this track for 30 years. I've gone past agricultural workers. Nobody's ever said anything. So I think this is classed as a green road. Now there's lots of dirt tracks around here with private no entry signs. This one has never had a private no entry sign. So for 30 years I've been driving down here, and there's quite a few like this in Norfolk. So then there's almost no traffic. So it's much safer from a point of view of pulling up just to photograph out of the car window.
I found some partridge, but they're the wrong ones. This is the red-legged partridge, very much an introduced species. I do know some bird photographers that won't photograph these because they just regard them as chickens, very domesticated. I'm quite happy to photograph them, and I actually think they're more attractive than the grey partridge. This is the grey or common partridge. On its belly it has a sort of upside down C type shape. And I did quite well with them in the end. They are very common. This is a female, more dowdy colours than the male. Male just slightly brighter. This picture is taken at the end of the day. The light was fading, and I got some nice video of this too. Most of the video is taken using the Lumix GH6 with the 150 to 400mm Olympus lens, and the stills pictures are taken with the OM1 camera body but with the same lens. All of the pictures are taken from the car window. It's a species that's in very serious decline today. We still have a few in the Midlands where I live, but not very many. Norfolk is the place to see them. So this is at the end of the day, and you can just about see the vapour coming out of the male's mouth as he calls. I really wanted some backlighting here. That would have showed the vapour up far more. But it was quite dull light at this point. And really with video, it doesn't matter. You can almost film in the dark with video.
Gamekeepers tell me that if they release red-legged partridge, they stay in the area where they're released. But if they rear grey partridge, they're far more inclined to wander off. They don't stay on the land where they release them. That's why we have a lot more red-legged partridge than grey partridge today. If they could get the eggs from local grey partridge, then those youngsters would stay put. But when they're buying the eggs in, they actually probably come from Eastern Europe, and then those birds just they're not tied to the land, they just wander away.
There's another species that I very much associate with Norfolk and bird photography, and that is the barn owl. Norfolk has quite a high population of day flying barn owls, and next week's film, that's what we're going to be looking at. So this is a sort of 30-second coming shortly clip, slow motion, 240 frames per second video. That's about 10 times slow. You do lose a bit of quality because you have to drop down to HD, and also you have to manually focus, which is very, very difficult. But I'll show you more next week. Thanks for watching.